What's up guys? It's time for April favorites. So the funny thing is that this month I noticed none of my favorites are tangible products. Everything is either like an event that happened or an audiobook or music, basically all intangible things that have been my favorites. But I actually think that's okay because I feel like intangible resources are easier for you guys to check out so that you don't have to go out and buy something. It really is as easy as like clicking a link. So I'm gonna start off with my favorite events of the month because I felt like a lot of cool things happened in April. So the first event that I got super excited about was Oprah's Super Soul Sessions #2. So this was an event that was held at UCLA where Oprah invited a ton of amazing speakers to come speak their wisdom and share with the audience at UCLA Royce Hall. I found out about this event through Marie Forleo's email list. So once she came out with that email about like pre-sale tickets, I jumped on that opportunity because I love Oprah, I love Marie Forleo, I loved a lot of the speakers who were speaking. So I was like, I don't care, I'm just gonna buy a ticket, I'm gonna go by myself and just enjoy my time. So I went on my own and I had so much fun. It was like the most inspiring day ever because just so much wisdom, and that energy in that room was so great because everyone was like, you could tell everyone was soul-centered and heart-centered, and everybody just was so present. It was beautiful. So I'll show you guys the pamphlet with all the speakers that were there. So Marie Forleo, Cheryl Strayed, Amanda Stenberg, Chris Carr, India Arie, Eckhart Tolle, Kerry Washington, and Oprah Winfrey. I almost knew like everybody who was speaking except for like 2 or 3, but everybody impressed me. Like everyone was amazing. So I have to say my favorite speakers were Shaka Senor, Chris Carr, and India Arie. I think those were my 3 favorite speakers of that event. But I know that they recorded this entire event and it's going to be posted online. So I'll check if the links are up. If they're up, I'll link them all down in the description below so you can watch all of the speakers. So I also want to show you how I have 2 of these pamphlets. One says part 1 and the other one says part 2. And it's because I took so many notes during that event that I finished the spaces that they give you for notes on the first one, and I was like, oh my god, I need more paper. So I took a second one just to write all of my notes for the rest of the event. So it was jam-packed with inspiration, wisdom, knowledge, all good stuff. Oprah is amazing. My next favorite of April was Coachella. So you guys might have seen my Coachella vlog, so I won't talk too much about it, but Coachella is always an amazing time. It was my 3rd Coachella this year, and I went with like a solid group of my closest friends, and it was just so fun. I really loved seeing Halsey because she's like my favorite, and also the Chainsmokers, who I really love. The thing about Coachella is that I absolutely love music, and I feel like I know a lot of artists. There's a lot of artists that I want to see. It's really hard to see everyone you want to see when you go in a big group. So I feel like in the future maybe I want to like break off and do my own thing because I feel bad dragging everyone to like an artist that only I know and nobody else knows. But I don't know, there's just like pros and cons to Coachella, but ultimately I had like so much fun, and each year I'm like learning something new, how to do it better next time, so yeah. Another big thing that happened to me this month that is a favorite is that I got laser eye surgery. So I think it's officially called Lasik, but anyway, yeah, something opens your eye, shoots a laser in it so that you don't have to wear contacts and glasses for the rest of your life, supposedly. So I got this at the beginning of April, so it's already been 3 weeks since my surgery, and if you guys are interested, I can make like an entire video on its own just about the whole process of getting LASIK, but it's something that I've always wanted to do since I was a teenager because I've been wearing glasses since I was in 4th grade, and I think even like financially, it's better to get LASIK than to live off of contacts and glasses your entire life, because contacts for me cost like $500 to $600 a year, which is pretty pricey. So considering that I don't want to be like 30, 40, 50 years old still wearing contacts, relying on contacts and glasses every day, to me it was like a great decision, and I'm so happy about it. Like my eyes are 20/20 right now, and it's crazy because I could just wake up and see the world. So yeah, leave a comment below if you have any questions about the process of getting LASIK, and if there are enough questions, I'll answer them all in another video. Another favorite that I have from this month, and I'm sure will be my favorite for many months to come, is this new yoga studio that I signed up for. So it's called Core Power Yoga. I don't know if you guys have that in your area, but in Southern California they have a few locations, and it's a pretty pricey yoga studio. I've never registered for any yoga studio before. I've only done yoga at like 24 Hour Fitness, where I have a gym membership. But I did the 2 weeks free at Core Power Yoga and I fell in love with it. It's hot yoga and the studio is clean. Their locker rooms are like super nice and fresh, and it just feels really great. And I love being able to sweat that much because I'm a person that is hard for me to sweat actually. If you put me in a sauna, I'll be the last one to sweat compared to everyone else around me. It's just something weird about my body, but I know that it's good to sweat. So it's just good to do hot yoga so that I can sweat easier, and I feel like I get a good workout from that. So I decided to sign up because even though it's pretty pricey, in my head I'm like, okay, if I'm spending this much on yoga, I'm gonna have to go. So it's kind of motivating me to go exercise more. And the first week that I got my pass, I did yoga 6 times that week. And since then, I've been going like 2 to 3 times a week, and I'm trying to go 3 to 4 times a week because I think that's just gonna be my standard workout for the next months to come. Alright, moving on to resources. So I finished reading Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. I think I might have already mentioned that before. You guys know that I love that book. I made so much content off of that book. But also, after that, I just decided I wanted to try out audiobooks because I've never really listened to audiobooks, and I know a lot of people do it. So I was like, okay, I think I'll try listening to a book for once instead of reading a book. So this past month, I started listening to Deepak Chopra's audiobooks. The first audiobook I started with was his famous one, The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success, which is really great. It's only an hour and a half long, so you can finish listening to it in like 2 or 3 days. And after I finished that one, I started Creating Affluence. So Creating Affluence, I just finished last night, literally. And I feel like that one is another one that I have to listen to again and again. So I'm happy that I started listening to audiobooks through Deepak Chopra because I actually really enjoy listening to his voice. He has this Indian accent and he speaks from such wisdom, and you can tell he's super authentic. So I think it was a good experience, and so far I've really loved listening to like 15 minutes of audiobook before I go to bed. And I think before you go to bed is like the best time to absorb that kind of information because it just like sets in your mind as you sleep, and it really kind of fuses into your life even when you wake up. Alright, moving on to my favorite music of the month. So I'm still really loving my spring 2016 playlist on Spotify. I feel like I have a lot of really good songs on there, and usually I have like 1 or 2 favorite songs from my playlist and I put those into the Those Soundwaves playlist. But with the spring playlist, I really like 10 songs. Like they're all really good, so I really can't like move all of them into my special playlist. I think they're just all really good, and I'll keep them on the spring playlist until I get sick of them. But I guess if I had to pick like a few that I really enjoy, one is called New York City by the Chainsmokers. I just really love the melody of that song. Another song that I really love, I introduced it to my boyfriend and he loves it so much more than I do. He's playing it on repeat right now, is Gallant featuring Seal, Weight in Gold. If you guys don't know that song, please listen to it already. I'll link the YouTube video below where they're performing it in a studio. And Seal is so cool. He's like mature, he knows what he's doing. And Gallant is like a young guy. He's so fresh and his voice can go so high. That's like his specialty. So a lot of soul in that song. It's a great song. Trust me, you'll love it. Also, a bonus song that I really am happy to have found this month is O Mio Babino Caro, and it's the version that's in the Charlie Brown, what's it called? It's My Birthday, Charlie Brown. I think that's what it's called. But for some reason, I've known this song for a long time because of the Charlie Brown special, and I watched that when I was a little kid. We had it on like a VHS tape where I would watch it again and again because I loved the song that Mimi sang. And I always knew that melody in my head and I would sing it, and I didn't know what the song was called. So one day I was singing it and I was like, You know what, I should just look this up online and see if I can find it. So I looked up Charlie Brown Mimi song and I found it. It's called O mio babbino caro, and it's an Italian song from an opera maybe. And I mean, I listened to the opera version, I have that on my Spotify, but in my heart, the version that's the best is the Charlie Brown one. It's just so sweet and so beautiful. And if you guys have not watched that growing up, it probably doesn't mean anything to you, but I think it's a beautiful song. I'll link that below so you can check that out too. So that's it for my favorites this month. I had a lot of things that made me happy, and they were all events and intangible things, which I think is pretty awesome because I don't care much about buying too many things. I'm just about like experiences and resources, things that will help me grow or just bring me joy. Lastly, if you haven't heard, I recently launched a new podcast called The Lavendaire Lifestyle, where I'll be uploading every Sunday on iTunes in the podcast section. So if you go in iTunes, the podcast, and you look up Lavendaire Lifestyle, you'll find it. Please subscribe and check out my podcast. It's actually a new medium where I could share deeper stories from my life and more life lessons because it's like a 20-minute segment. So I feel like I could share a lot more about myself in 20 minutes versus like a shorter form on YouTube. So it's just different. I think you'll see different sides of me on YouTube, my blog, and my podcast. But I'm just really excited to get this going. And that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!